And we're back. I love it. Oh, you're blanked.
Oh,
There we go. Okay,
yeah. Well, we are back.
we are back. Greetings, people, on another exciting night of Tech Talk. I love this. So me and Mark were getting into this because we were talking about something. He had an idea. We had an idea. We're running with it. I had an idea, and we talked about these certain ideas that we had. It kind of goes with our show of. Wow, it was on Paper Aircraft Weekly, wasn't it? It was a couple weeks back now. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I think it was.
yeah, at least a couple weeks back, but sometime back there. But like, so he was talking about. He's got this idea right now. It started off with what he was talking about here. He's got a spider going on. You can't see this, but he wanted a way to
You
lighten up
can't
the.
see me.
You can't see me. He's got a way to show up. He's doing it. He's lightening up the spider, and we were talking about. So his full intent was to build a spider. It's coming out, and it looks like a spider, right? Because you still started out with the same style sheet, which is Chinese menu in this case.
You can see it.
Yeah.
And
Is that wait now? Is that a bigger version though? Is
this is the standard. This is the version one spider that was made out of Chinese paper.
okay. So Chinese Spider V1 is Chinese menu.
Yes.
Okay, I want to get that straight because we had talked about that a long time ago and we weren't
Yeah.
straight on. So
Well,
okay,
yeah. I mean, I will say the original one that we built was out of Chinese menu. Now, I think there were some issues where like I built some before we found some whatever, but I will say Spider at one point was built out of Chinese menu. Whether it's the first or the second one, it was one of them that was out of this.
okay, okay.
Based on the timeline that we said, oh well, this was a Spider because we had this conversation.
Yeah, and it might even been
Um,
on a show.
and yeah, we've had this on numerous shows, but we got into it again tonight, and it's because I did something that I haven't done in years, which is like I don't like to. I never used to like to cut the planes. I
At
always like to
all.
fold it.
Yeah, at all. Yes.
Yeah, I never cut them at all. But then I realized, like, well, there's only one way to take weight, and that's to cut the weight out. You
True.
have to cut the weight out. And part of me feels like the reason why Spider didn't fly as far or as long was because it was much heavier than a phase.
True. Yeah.
Because it was longer. It was made out of Chinese menu, so it was, in all fairness, it was heavier than the phase, so it just didn't get the distance. Even though some flights were amazing, there was a lot of flights that were subpar when it came to the actual flight of the aircraft. Um,
And it could be argued it was
so,
simply because of the design too. I mean, we're dealing with two totally different designs. Even if you
oh
add
yeah,
weight or
because mine
subtract
is a
weight,
Delta Diamond.
yours is a Delta Diamond. Yeah. So, but
Yeah,
you were still getting remarkable flights out of it.
I was, but fast forward to about 6 months ago when I went out to eat and I stopped at one of our local. Oh, let me grab a stack of menus, and that's exactly what I did because I needed to replenish my supply. So I grabbed them, and when I got home that evening, I said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to fold the first couple of folds, the first two folds, and then I'm going to cut like 3/4 of what ended up being a third of the Chinese menu off. And then I want to fold it, and then I want to reverse fold it, and then I want to fold the rest of it. So I get that nice crisp line that you can see.
He's
They can't
showing me
see,
this,
but I
but
can.
I can't see it. Y'all can't see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So this line right here is the fold cut.
Okay. Yeah. And
So that
that's what
was
we're
that
used
was
to.
cut.
That's what we're used to. We're used to seeing that, but it used to be a
Yeah.
fold under there.
Yeah, it used to be folded, and it used to all be one direction.
And
So what I
when you started, you knew with the Chinese menu, your intention was to build that spider with that cut to make it lighter.
correct,
All right. Okay.
correct. That's exactly what I did. So everything else has been the same, other than that one reverse fold and the cut. Now, yes, it's a spider, but for me, it's not a version one. I don't think it can't be a version 1 because when I cut it out of it 2, I've changed the folds. So that's going to change. Like the stress on it has changed already, like we were talking about, which is why we started this show tonight.
Indeed,
Um,
indeed.
if you take the wing pockets, like you were saying, if you take them and you put them from top to bottom, well, that changes the stress on the wing itself, therefore causes the different flight altogether on the plane. It's not a different plane, it's just a different version in my mind. If that's all you did.
If that's all you did, yes, yes. And obviously, it
Because
you could
that's
argue
the
that all
tech
the
part of
time.
it.
Yeah, you could
That,
debate that all you want too, because really, yeah, it's the tech part is changing the layout of the bird that you were building to begin with at the
yeah,
start or after
for
the end of it.
me, yeah, for me, if you're adding or removing tech to a design, it's still the same design, just a different version. If you like, it's the whole point of tech.
Yes,
Whether I do staple or whether I do a snub nose or whether we do the the bihedrals or the anhedrals, still the same plane. It's just got different tech. Well, that's exactly what cutting and all of that is. It's small versions of tech that, in theory, lead you down the path of, is this version of that plane better than the original?
right, right.
Which is why we say you got to play around with tech.
Yeah, and this anything from simple things like obviously we once the thing we talked about was like tape. We talked about in the previous show when we were dealing with the bihedrals, the winglets, tape, staples, cuts. That is a tech when you're dealing with something as simple as paper aircraft, but it's how you apply it, where you apply it, and how often on a single aircraft you apply it, where they come in handy, what you're doing to the plane to change it to make it more or less, less flighty, more or less flighty, more or less. Yeah, if you could do a cut, for example, that changes it from a glider to a stunt plane, either in the process of folding it or after you're done. And again, we're in a very unique position as paper aircraft folders, creators, professionals, whatever you want to
Designers.
call us. We're in a unique position. That sounds weird, doesn't it? We're in a unique position to be able to do that because we're not machine building something where we put parts together. You build a plane, whatever plane you build, from a flying bus to something advanced like one of Robert's that's completely taped up. But if you cut, like you just take a scissors and lop the nose off, you created something different just like that after the end of what you folded. This is why we always get into the debate on intent, because yeah, you can start out with the intent of building a javelin, a thunderbolt, an Ekron, a phase, but like at the end of the day, you build the plane, you get it done. Last fold was made, and then lo and behold, I'm going to cut the plane in half. Well, what have you done now? Because it's no longer whatever it is you just built. It's no longer that plane at all. There's no way to do it. There's no way to get it back. Even if you were to tape that
Yes.
together, you did something different by adding the weight to tape it back together. So
I hate you.
that's what I'm talking about. That's why
Okay, but you're talking to the extreme now
that is an
because
extreme. That is
you're
an extreme.
because nobody in theory would cut their plane like so drastically that
No,
they would need to they would need to tape it back together.
no, that's
Because
true.
either one, it doesn't fly, or two, it flies like
A rock.
garbage. Yeah, because
Yeah,
there's really no like if you cut too much on a plane, it's gonna fly like garbage. You're very rarely gonna get some flies if you're just cutting and cutting and cutting.
and that
So
is
yes, at some point, if you're cutting, I'm under the assumption of, okay, well, I designed a spider. That's what I built. I cut the delta diamonds off.
there's a plane right here.
I can't Yeah, there's not a plane right there.
Can't see it.
There's barely
But
there's barely a pair of scissors right there.
there's barely a pair of scissors. Right
Um, but if I cut the Delta Diamond off and all of a sudden it flies amazing, well, to me, all I did was
uh,
cut the Delta Diamonds off.
right, right.
Like I didn't design a new plane. I just cut the Delta Diamonds off.
However, you're going to have, if you consider our folds, you consider our art profession, whatever the hell, the hobby, you consider what we do and how much different, like, yes, this is what you talked about so long ago, too, about how there could be 20 people out there with different, like, they'll show you how to build, and they could come out looking exactly like your spider, but they didn't fold anything like it to get to it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, they ain't folding. They ain't folding like this to get
Yeah,
there.
right. That's what I mean.
I
So
promise you.
the same thing would be said for something like this when I'm talking about how if you
Version one isn't hard, but
yeah,
this is slightly different.
if you do that, if you build a spider and then you cut that delta diamond off, you're going to have a different flight. So we're talking
You guys
like
can't see this,
no,
but
he's
my
pretty impressed
goodness,
with himself on that one. But like you're
dude,
going to get an aircraft that's like two out of three things. If you consider the fact that what we do is a three-step process for building the same plane: the folds, the final product, and the intention. Okay, you got the intention, you got the folds, but you cut the delta diamond off. Your final product is gone. You can't tell me that's going to be a spider if you cut those delta diamonds off. Not of that one that you
well,
just
not
made, but I mean a normal one.
9 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, the Delta Diamond's required for it to fly. So I would scrap it because it's
Yeah,
probably not going to fly anyways.
exactly, exactly.
But if it somehow did, I I personally would say, okay, this is just a tech because it's like folding the Delta Diamonds in,
Yeah, no, right, right.
kind of, kind of,
Kind of, yeah.
kind of.
But you can see where it comes from. I get it. I get it. Yeah.
Like it's still the same plane. I just did something minor slash. I mean, cutting it is major, but
Cutting
because
what I was. Yeah.
cutting is almost irreversible. Almost.
Oh yeah, and
There's
it.
probably a few things. There's probably a few things you could fix.
Well, not only that, but I mean, like to the extreme, like I was talking about. It's not only reversible, but you probably something you couldn't come back from because again, if you tried to repair that by retaping it together, you're altering it forever because the tape holding it back together would alter its weight, would alter its center of
It would.
gravity.
I
So
agree. I'm not going to deny that. I just I'm just getting some tape here.
yeah. He's actually building in the background. Sorry you can't see it, but like
Yeah.
we're working on his studio just like we're working on our studio. I told you we're breaking some
Yeah,
stuff out. So
I need to get a new building station, and my old one crapped out on me, so that table is no longer
but to see an example,
worthy.
if you guys remember this from the Fat Show from way back when, and no, that's not. I'm not making a dig. We actually did a Fat Show not too long ago. This is my example of aircraft I built for the folded anhedral tips. I'm taking it back. I'm taking one folded back out because as you see, it still has the folded anhedral tips on the winglets there. Um, so I took the fold back out. So now it's basically your standard flying aircraft from way back when. The
Yeah,
extreme I
it's
talked
robust.
about, the extreme I talked about, where here you folded, you made this plane, then you do this. Now, now that that's a completely different aircraft. I just took a lot of its weight right out. I just took a lot of its weight right out.
I will say,
That is a completely different aircraft.
I mean,
I mean, it does. There's no way to. I just changed the location of the center of gravity because there's. I just took all of the weight out. This
yeah, you know what?
by that cut,
I
that nose
but
is
see the
it's gone.
intent. See, this is why I say intent.
I know.
Intent was the intent was that you wanted to cut that. So yeah, you're technically not building the same
Ah,
plane.
yes, yes, that's true. But do you go?
The intent is there. So like you don't build your plane like that. You build it with the nose. So the intent to cut it off is
Created the new
completely
plane.
different.
Yeah. So But do you go in once you
So
when you built that plane? Was your intention to cut it, or was your intention to not cut it and fly it? And then you're like, ah, to hell with it. Snip. No, no. This is why intent is important. You're right. You're absolutely right. This is why intent is important.
yes, and even if your intent was afterwards. So say I designed Spider. I built the Spider, dated it, everything, coded it, gave it a number.
God, we would never do that. In fact, we would never do that. But yes, I see where you're going with
Coded it,
that.
gave it a number. Then all of a sudden, yes, I cut the nose off because I was angry at it,
Okay, right,
and
right.
and then I taped it back together, stapled it, put a little bit of paper clip or something in the plane, and then it flew completely different, and it was amazing.
Dude,
Well,
dude,
my intent,
I,
the so my intent was I cut the freaking nose off because I hated the plane because it flew like garbage.
right.
So I intentionally said it's not gonna be what I made. My design was not working. So I cut it and said, this is a way to figure out if this is an issue. Is it got too much weight in the nose and
I think in
freaking
that case your intent is definitely there, but I also think like because we're impact members, it's implicit to the contractor whether or not your quote unquote fix is still like okay, that's a new variant of what you just cut up or a new plane entirely.
I mean, I will say that you probably could go either way.
Yeah.
You could
I'm
probably go either way in this scenario.
I mean, I
You could
think
say, "Oh, this is the same plane, just a different version with this specific tech."
yeah, right, right, exactly.
Or
I'd be willing to give that.
or you say, "I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say it's the same with this with a, you know, cut, staple, paperclip tape. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say it's now plane B or plane X or whatever you want to name that plane at that
Yeah.
point."
Yeah.
So I feel like yes, the intent was there, and then at that point, you decide whether or not you're going to make it a new design or keep it an, the same and give it a new version number or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I got to put a date on this.
And yeah, I think that's key, and I think that's actually kind of crucial to us in Impact as well, just because that's that is changing the game. That's changing the layout. I mean, I don't think any of us have gone to that extreme. Um, but I'd like to think that most of us would be. Obviously, your intent was there, and from the beginning, you created a Thunderbolt, and you were pissed off at it. You cut the nose completely off. But if you retaped, you restapled, you paperclip, you know what? The Thunderbolt is still there. So I'd like to think that you would in this case, that I'm using the Thunderbolt as an example. That's still a Thunderbolt.
Oh
It's just a
yeah,
different design.
yeah, yeah. If I did that and I put the nose back on, but I had to tape it more, yeah, it's still the same plane,
Yeah,
just a
because that's
different
really not
version
going
at
to
that
affect
point.
an interceptor anyway. Yeah, right.
Yeah, like I mean, it probably would a little bit. I feel like it would affect it a little bit,
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure it
even though
would,
they're
but
because the I feel like the center of gravity would slightly off.
your Thunderbolt is just an interceptor. So again, like, what are you going to do? That's like the effect of sticking a rock in the nose. It's like you know what? It's still going to fly in a straight line that way. You know, so
Yeah, but at the same time, like I feel like it might change it slightly
yeah, no, and
because you're adding more weight.
are we tempting you to try it?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to try it.
We barely got him into cutting. I'm not
And
going to have him
I
dive off the deep end right now.
and I'm not going to cut this either because
No, I wouldn't blame you.
I'm about to go nuts. Even with the fan on in here, I think this thing. Oh yeah, that was straight into the door, which is
See,
about
so yeah,
15 feet
people.
that way.
Yeah, see, yeah, people. So like again, the debate wages on, and like we call it a tech because of just that. You're changing your plane, you're changing your layout, and only you can decide ultimately on whether or not that was a new design or a variant of the same design you had. Um, it depends on how extreme the tech goes. whatever kind of, or what you even term as tech yourself. I mean, what we're
Yeah.
talking about is stuff like as simple as cuts and folds. I mean, I wouldn't really go into folds unless they're like after the fact, after the plane's completed. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, like rifle and other things that you could do
right.
during that, because rifle is a tech, but it's a folded tech.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
way I like to do it.
No, yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, and I mean, rifle. There's basically only two simple ways to do it, and both ways are like
Mhm.
essentially
I'm
folding
starting to
after
come
the
up with some
fact.
other ideas. I'm starting to come up with some other ideas to reinforce that leading edge outside of folding.
All right, yeah, yeah.
I haven't gotten there yet, but I have some ideas.
So be ready, people. We're coming up with some new ideas. We're gonna have this tech for you. We're gonna bounce this around, and I don't know how often these. What do you think we
But
should? Do you think we
I
should
think
drop
that
it?
other tech is on. I don't know if it's actually on.
Do you think we
Yeah,
should?
it is. It's a different tech altogether.
Is it okay?
Yeah, it is. You have it listed as a different tech altogether.
Okay,
So
so
we'll eventually get there.
we'll eventually get there, people. So we'll show you. We'll show you some shows. You think we should? We still keeping these weekly, or whenever they drop, they drop.
It's totally up to you at this point. I mean, I'm down for whatever. We can
Okay.
probably do 2 a week. I don't care.
People are ready for some tech. They're ready to see some planes being built. So, yeah, I want to get
I
this
know.
out there for them.
I
That's
got to
cool.
get this. I got to get this setup fixed ASAP because it's driving me nuts.
All right, so we're gonna leave it there on that one because that's pretty in depth about intent. But be ready for the next one because we'll get into like who knows what we'll get into. But the debate wages on. You can see it however you want to see it. We see it that way. You see it that way. Hey, join us and we'll talk about it. But if you got, let us know your thoughts. Let us know your comments. Drop some pictures. Drop some videos. We'll watch and we'll talk
Join
about
the
it.
Discord.
Join the Discord. Join IVPAC. I mean, if you want, because we'll get you in there, and you could be a
Once you
part of
get in the
this.
Discord, you're captured and hostage anyway. So
we'll we'll include you in all this mess. Be ready. It's coming.